I'm trying to find the data to back it up, but I'm more than sure Khalil Mack won first team All Pro for two different positions in the same year, but I'm not completely sure. But just because of that alone, he should be recognized as one of the NFL's elite. And considering he's been that elite his entire career, we gave him a segment on the elite. How you guys doing? It is July 16th, 2020 out here in this quarantine. I'm James Sims. And for this episode of the Elite, I'm gonna get into Khalil Mack. Khalil Mack is definitely one of the more dominant forces in football. And people that were so unsure as to what his impact would actually be, he literally moved teams and that team won their conference that year. So let me give you a little bit of background. If you look at Khalil Mack, he's a 29-year-old outside linebacker who plays defensive end. I think he plays both pretty flawlessly. I think he's more of a defensive end than a linebacker. He stands at about 6'3", weighs about 270, 275. This dude is a big mound of muscle, right? I don't know if he was recruited really highly in high school, but he ended up going to the University of Buffalo. So he was basically the number 5 overall pick in the 2014 NFL draft out of Buffalo because his 3 years, he was first team All Mac Conference, All MAC. He was the first team All American. He was named the first team All American out of Buffalo his junior year there. So I'm just saying, with a resume like that, you know this dude is at least going to be a problem in the NFL, and he at least had a reputation in him for scouts to recruit him so heavily that he was picked that high up. So the team that picked him up eventually was the the Oakland Raiders. I mean, it wasn't even recent that I don't even know if the Las Vegas Raiders haven't even played a game, but whatever. His first season there, he was 23 years old. He started all 16 of the games he was supposed to play in. He finished with 76 combined tackles, 16 for loss. He had 4 total sacks on the season, and he was named to the All-Rookie team. Nothing incredible, but he made that leap after. But I mean, of course, with this season, just like most of the other Raiders seasons, they miss the playoffs. They make the playoffs one time while Khalil Mack is on the team. But right now, at this time, this is when Dennis Allen and Tony Sperano were switching off because Dennis Allen started the season 0-4. But yeah, they were 3-13 this season. They're pretty bad. But Khalil Mack was getting his snaps. His second year in the league, he he started all 16 games he played in. He finished with 77 combined tackles in 16 games. That's 5, averaging a 5, pretty good. 57, he finished with 23 tackles for loss. He finished with 15 sacks on the season. He was a Pro Bowler, and he was a first team All Pro player in his second year in the league. And while of course the Raiders were going 7-9, but Khalil Mack, he put the NFL on notice that season. I mean, he was named first team All Pro. First time he was named to a Pro Bowl, or he was named. No, he was at that point. He was anointed one of the best young linebackers, defensive ends in the game, and at that point, that's when he ascended to elite status. His third year in the league in 2016 for the Oakland Raiders. His age 25 season. He started all 16 games, finishing with 73 combined tackles, 14 tackles for loss, and 11 sacks on the season. He was a Pro Bowler and an All Pro yet again, as he was named the Defensive Player of the Year. And he was named the Pro Bowler for the 3rd time in a row. And he was named first team All Pro for the second year. He won the Dick Butkus Award as a linebacker because those were his stats. And the Raiders that year would go on to make the playoffs. They lost in the wild card to the Texans, but Khalil Mack put Jack Del Rio on the map. That was the one winning season. They haven't had that many wins in a season since 2000. That's how good their 2016 season was. And Khalil Mack won the Defensive Player of the Year that year, and he really put the Raiders on the map. The very next season, he decided to come back. He started all 16 of the games he played in. He had 10.5 sacks in the season, finishing with 78 combined tackles. 15 for loss, doing his thing. Raiders finished 6-10, but of course Khalil Mack was able to be a Pro Bowler for the third year in his for the third time in his fourth year. And following this 3 years of terror, the Oakland Raiders got new management and decided it would be smart to get rid of Khalil Mack for draft picks. So Khalil Mack, right before the 2018 season, was instantly traded to Chicago, to play for the Bears naturally. And prior to that, of course, the Chicago Bears were 5-11, last in the NFC North in 2017. So of course, additionally, they get a new coach, They get a new coach this season, Matt Nagy, and of course he puts together this offense. Of course, and the offense is humming, and so is the defense. But Khalil Mack is singing, boy. He started 13 of the 14 games he played that season. He finished with 10 tackles for loss, 47 combined tackles, 12 and a half sacks on the season. And the Chicago Bears instantly became a 12-4 team. They lost in the wild card round to the Eagles, but Matt Nagy won Coach of the Year, and the Chicago Bears had an insane year, and Khalil Mack was the leading force on that team. Once again, he was named to the All-Pro first team, and even with that, like Khalil Mack he had been a big part of a winning team this season. And then fast forward to this past season, in 2019, in his age 28 season, he would play all 16 of the games that he started in all 16 of the games he played in. He finished with 8.5 sacks. 47 combined on the season, 8 tackles for loss. And the Bears were still able to go 8-8 this season under Matt Nagy, and he was still named a Pro Bowler. So if you look at Khalil Mack for the athlete that he is right now, he is a 29-year-old defensive end who, to his resume, has 5 Pro Bowls in his 6 seasons that he's been in the league, by the way. He's 5 for 6. He has 3 All-Pros. Half of the seasons he's been in the league, he's been the best at his position. He's been rated as the best at his position. And it was the AP Defensive Player of the Year in Oakland. And I'm pretty sure he was still a first-team All-Pro in 2 different positions in the same season. But without further ado, he's still on a Chicago Bears team that has a great coach, has a great young defense around Khalil Mack. The question is if they're going to change their quarterback immediately, because I don't know if Mitch Trubisky's the answer, and if they want to utilize Khalil Mack's prime effectively, I would imagine they would want to be in win now mode and try their hardest to try to get a quarterback. I was disappointed they missed out on Cam, but we'll see who the Chicago Bears grab. Without further ado, I appreciate you for listening to what I have to say. Khalil Mack is an all-time player. He's worn 52 for the Raiders, and now he's wearing it for the Chicago Bears. He's bringing a winning atmosphere out to Chicago, and he's keeping that defense in check. I'm really excited to see what this dude has to bring this upcoming year. I know that he's going to be a Pro Bowler yet again. He's definitely on the track to being in the Hall, like I just said. But without further ado, I really appreciate you. And if you get a chance to watch the Chicago Bears, if you were to watch a Chicago Bears game this season, watch them play the Packers, because that's a rivalry everyone watches. See how many times Khalil Mack gets really close, like one step away from Aaron Rodgers. Like, count it. If you're gonna be serious about it, do a drinking game about it. Take a shot every time Khalil Mack gets in within like a foot of Aaron Rodgers, and see how plastered you get. But without further ado, peace out.